you are listening to The Agreeable Bassist. I am your host, Hiram Mariner, and yes, I am The Agreeable Bassist, coming to you live from 105.5 LPFM, KFGM Missoula Community Radio, and always streaming 24/7 online at 1055kfgm.org. So we got a special show going on this time, special guest. This is going to be the first of a series of bassist to bassist interviews. And guys, we got a great bassist with us right now. I want to introduce Kurt Skrivseth from the band Pale People. How are you, Kurt?
I'm doing well. How are you, Hiram?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for coming in. Oh, man, my pleasure. I was telling you earlier, since I work from home and I listen to a lot of music, and I listened to your album, and I'm not joking, 3 times in a row, back to back to back. That is not a joke. And then when my wife got home, I just couldn't wait to show it to her, and she loved it too. Just absolutely terrific album, great production, great lyrics, great rhythm, but great bass playing. You are a very musical bass player. I was really, really impressed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, that was great. I liked how you're all over the fretboard. You do a lot of starting high, kind of going down quite often, and then just hitting a lot of notes in between.
It's a lot of pentatonic, and then hoping I find the root note.
I kind of noticed that, but you found it though, so that's the good thing. It just how many takes was it? That was my question.
Every one of those tracks is done. That was a live take, so there weren't overdubs at least. So the band was a 3-piece, but every one of those is just a solid performance that we did. Some of them, happened on the first take. Famously, the last song on the album was the first take, which is also the only time we've ever played that song. And
he let us know about it.
He did.
He did. I liked it.
If you listen long enough, you'll hear. You hear.
I got to do a radio edit whenever.
Just right at the end. Right? There's a couple songs where I did a couple extra overdubs and whatnot, but for the most part, those were all solid live performance.
That's good, man. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a tight groove, and I just really dug it. So let's go ahead and get started. My idea for this show is I want to play a song. We're going to stop it. I want you to kind of talk to me about the song, maybe what it meant, the process to it, just whatever comes to mind when you do that. I don't have quite of a set format planned out, although I do have some questions I do want to ask at the end.
Great.
And of course, feel free to chime in any way, shape, or form in the meantime. All right, so again, I normally stream things, so we are going to give this a shot with the CD player. So let's see if I can make this work.
And just as an aside, the album comes out Monday.
Oh,
so
forgive me.
From yesterday. But so this will be the first time most people have heard this.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So it comes out Monday. Where is it going to be available for purchase?
We'll have it at Ear Candy, at Rockin' Rudy's, and then everywhere online as usual. If people want a physical copy and can't get to one of those stores, we'll also mail them. So.
Okay. And if they do want to mail it, will they just reach out to your website? Or?
Our website or through our Facebook, yeah.
Okay, great. And just reach out, direct message, or whatever the contact information.
We've got a contact page, etc.
Excellent. So we got Rockin' Rudy's, Ear Candy, and then they can reach out Facebook. Are you going to offer anything online, Bandcamp, or anything like that?
It'll be on Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, the whole deal.
I love it, man. Guys, this is a great album you're about to find out. And so be sure that you do what I ask every single week. Let's get out. Let's support local music. We live in this great musical community, and it cannot survive if us as listeners and us as musicians and us as artists aren't out there supporting it. Capiche? Capiche. All right, let's see if I can get this to work.
Different tonight, no Big Dipper, no Taurus, the bull Orion, the hunter Cassiopeia, the queen, they glow green, sick and pale, they look frail, ready to hail like sparks from a dark machine, slipping like butter out of the sky to die in the dirt. God, do I hurt, growing older and sickly, too quickly out in the cold, my body folds in all the wrong places, lo, my father's face is before me now, somehow I know he waits at the oasis, gazing up at the places where there used to be stars, to show him where his children are. Sing your boy to bed, kiss his breaking head, bring him to your breast, sing him through his rest. He is beautiful, small and beautiful. He could follow your voice forever, sleeping. Smiling quietly at the sky, the stars are alive. I am 4, maybe 5, on the shoulders of my father, warm in his armor, bolder than I have been before. Facing north towards the shore where white water pours, my father roars, this world is yours and it is eternal. That was years before the infernal burning began to torch the land, scorch the sand, erase any trace of direction. Years before we lost the stars' protection, no connection can remain between us now. The stars are taking their last bow. Sing your boy awake till your bodies break. Clutch the burning skin, let the screaming in. He is beautiful, you are beautiful. We could follow your voice forever, dreaming. Sing me the shape of an atlas that this body might survive through the night. Sing me the shape of an atlas that this body might still be alive when you arrive. Crying my name through the night, your eyes wet and wide like a young bride. No trace of light in the sky, the old earth ready to die. I will sing the shape of an atlas that this hand might take your hand, and we might cross the dead sand. This land is endless, and this love will never end. I will sing the shape of an atlas that this body might make amends before the night ends. To each and every one of my absent friends.
All right, so that was Night Atlas. That was the first song on the album Pale People, Absent Friends. So Kurt, tell me about that, Night Atlas.
Yeah, so Night Atlas. So that's the opening track. The way that that little A flat to F groove that you hear, the way I came up with that was you get through okay.
We are now.
Okay, cool.
I think we
Very
are.
good. So that opening groove that you heard just on bass nerd stuff. I came up with that riff when I was messing around. I just bought an EBS octave pedal. And so I was playing the octave pedal with my electric upright bass, and I was just trying to see what sort of like the fattest low tone I could get was. And I don't know how much of that actually translated by the time we got the rest of the band in there, but sort of trying to copy a sound of what like maybe the Gorillaz would have done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar sound like what the bass line on Feel Good Inc. But yeah, so I love the octave effect, and I'm just playing an octave higher.
What octave effect is it again?
It's an EBS octave pedal.
EBS octave pedal.
So
Okay, I was looking at a sub and up.
Okay.
And that's what I was thinking about doing next, but
they get kind of tricky because you can't. I don't. This is probably a lot of inside baseball, but you can't really play anything with an octave pedal if it's adding a lower octave below like the regular open D string frequency. Below that, it gets really muddy and kind of not worth it unless you're trying to break your amp.
Good point.
Yeah.
We'll keep the bass talk to an inside.
There we go. Yeah.
There, because you're right. I did realize, and I apologize. I had your mic off. A little bit of your cheery introduction and commentary. Hopefully, maybe this picked it up a little bit, so it possibly. But now it's on, ready to go.
Fantastic.
I did want to just reiterate, just in case. So again, Pale People, the album goes on sale Monday. Absent Friends. It is going to be available for purchase at Rock and Rudy's. It is available for purchase at Ear Candy.
It will be at Ear Candy and then everywhere online that you get your music.
Everywhere online. And if you want a physical copy mailed to you, reach out to the band. Guys, you can tell him you heard him on the Agreeable Bassist, and maybe he'll sign a copy for you. I don't know. We'll see. Well, that was good, man. Anything else on Night Atlas?
So the content of that song, since now everyone can hear me, our main lyricist and the singer of our band, Matt Gilchrist, he's also our piano player. He wrote most of that based off of, I guess some of it gets kind of personal, so I'll leave out some of the detail, but it's basically a story about a son who is nonverbal and not able to communicate directly how his full love for his dad, but it's basically the love between the son and the father, and having sort of a language barrier mixed with that, but sort of the love that lies on the other side of that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
That's beautiful. All right, well, let's go on to the next track. So the next track is Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're gonna give it a little.
I don't know. Go ahead. Let's introduce it a little bit.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you get the album, this should lead directly in from the end of the last song you heard. But this song is actually just about Godzilla waking up after thousands of years, and I'll leave it at that.
I love that. That's cool. All right, Homecoming. Here we go.
I am coming home to Tokyo for the first and final time. From the dark abyssal slime I rise toward a shining shore. I can't recall when I last tasted air or felt sunlight on my skin. I suppose it must have been years before the ants made war. And I don't want to be cold anymore. Reaching the surface, I inhale the surf and unfold my limbs like sails, shake the water from my scales, opening my throat to sing. I never dreamed that I could feel like this, roaring at the silver sun, as though this day were the first one. Raise my wings on silver strings. This world could never dream of such a king. Proud and beautiful, see me rising from the beach, hear the thunder of my speech. I could destroy this world with joy. There will be fireworks in Tokyo, they shall blaze in monochrome when the Lizard King comes home, proud and poised on plastic toys. This world shall split up on my savage noise.
All right, that was Homecoming, and you said it was about Godzilla waking up.
Yep.
How long has he been asleep?
Oh, too long.
Too long, huh? What really stands out to me on that, and as a bass player, of course, I'm going to be looking toward the bass more than anything else to listen to it.
Right back at you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Was the just, I guess, that big run that you have in that song. I mean, you kind of start low, you work your way all the way up the neck. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, there's a clip of the first time that we tried playing that on my Instagram, if anybody's really curious. You can see me, I guess, sort of inventing that riff as it was happening.
Okay.
But
and what is your Instagram?
It's just my name, Kurt Skrivseth. People can find it.
All right.
It's mostly just pictures of my dachshund and then some bass guitar stuff. Yes, you can see me improvising that. And I mean, the song's in E, so it's a very friendly key to play with. But Mac and I had already sort of figured out what the chord structure was going to be, and we decided for one of the first times, as you notice, like in that song, I don't think I come in until the second verse. So like it starts without any
any bass, and then it gets kind of ridiculous. So there's a couple little fills in there, but yeah, it's just a really friendly riff to do that with, and it basically just walks up in E major scale.
He's wonderful. So were
Yeah.
you like on the 14th fret on the D string? Is that, because it sounded like you were pretty high.
Let me do the math really quick. It would have been somewhere around starting at the 12th, and it would have been a pentatonic thing up to the 16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, nice, man. So
Yeah.
You said on Night Atlas on the first one you were playing your electric upright,
I wrote it on that. It ended up working out better just to play it on the bass I usually use.
and that is, I think, you have modulus.
Yep, I've got a Modulus Quantum 5
Mhm.
that I got my hands on last summer after looking for one for years, and I got it in the exact color I wanted.
Perfect.
Yeah,
You said that's your main player.
that's my number one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I had seen you, and I mentioned this to you before, I had seen you in a little blurb on Bass Player Magazine
Yep.
where you had said you were a fiver for life.
Mhm.
I don't have to remind you that Jocko only needed 4. I know you know that.
Yep.
But
He also needed bipolar medication. So.
he did.
Yeah.
But tell me though, why are you more drawn toward a 5-string as opposed to a 4-string, and when did that change happen?
Sure. So I started out playing guitar, and then I started moving to bass because every one of my friends played guitar. No one had a bass player, so you go where the work is.
Equals employed.
Right. Yeah, for all the paying gigs that's got.
Yeah, right.
But after that, I started listening to more like Dave Matthews kind of stuff, and there's some extended range in there. And I had this sort of completionist thing where what I did is I went from a 4-string to a 6-string bass, and I still have it, but I've never found a real good use for the C string. So then for the sake of hand comfort, I dialed it back to a 5. And the way I play, I've never felt like the low B has gotten in the way for me.
It's not just a fancy thumb rest.
No, not at all.
No.
Not the way some people use it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Very nice. Well, good, man.
Hey,
So that's Homecoming. That was great. So that was on a modulus, and the first one was on your electric upright. What brand is that, your electric upright?
that's an NS Designs.
NS
so it
Designs.
used to be Steinberger, but for all the nerdies.
Is it headless?
No, it's on a tripod though. It's
Mhm.
42 inches.
I've seen those, so
Yeah.
you just kind of set it on that tripod.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And uses real upright strings, so it's really expensive to string. But
Does it have a bowed neck? Can you play it with a bow?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Very nice. And then, so we had your modulus on a Homecoming, and then our next song we're going to listen to is Firestarter. Is there
Firestarter.
anything you want to let us know about that?
That is also on that same modulus. Most of the album is. And this song is about, I believe the guy's name is John Orr, don't quote me on that. But he was Mac knows the history better on the city since he wrote the lyrics. But it was about a fire marshal back in the 70s and early 80s who it was later found out was a convicted serial arsonist.
Wow.
And so he was making his own work, so to speak, and
Was he investigating his own crimes?
probably.
Wow,
But
that's
not-
cool.
Yeah, so it's just about, basically it's about a pyromaniac.
All right,
Yeah,
Pyromaniac on the inside. Let's give it a listen.
Great.
I like little matchsticks. It's a good noise when they strike. Matchsticks make for good toys. It's the little joys that I like. I like boys who catch fire. When they catch fire, that's a sight. Good boys let the old liar escape me? Would you dare, boy? Would you now? You're my little fire toy, something to destroy my sweet cow. Don't you dare desert me, boy, I'll put you underground. You know I deserve to burn and bury you, bloody and bound. Don't make a sound, God wants you drowned in holy ground. Well, I'm as happy as a little match boy could be. You'll burn like a pretty little man for me. Nothing better than to peddle my passion, see. You'll see there's happiness in the obliteration of a body. Nothing better than to burn for Johnny. Nothing better than living honestly like me. Well, I'm as happy as a little match boy could be. You'll burn like a pretty little man for me. Nothing better than to peddle my passion, see. You'll see there's happiness in the obliteration of a body. Nothing better than to burn for Johnny. Nothing better than living honestly like me. Well, I'm as happy as a little match boy could be. You'll burn like a pretty little man for me. Nothing noise when passion strike. You'll see there's happiness in the obliteration of a body. Nothing better than burn for Johnny. Nothing better than living honestly like me.
All right, so that was Firestarter. He's pretty crafty and pretty quick on his vocals there. in that
Oh
one.
yeah, those were a real joy to be on the production side of and get all the takes to make sure all the syllables hit right.
You said you recorded live. Did you do everything kind of in the big room and then overdub the vocals, or did the vocals were they recorded live?
There's the lyrics you hear at the very end of the last song on the album. Those were from the scratch tape.
Mm-hmm.
But what we would do to keep track of where the song
Sure.
is we would record a scratch that I would have the gain turned up really high so that the overhead mics on the drums wouldn't pick him up. But so he's basically just whispering the lyrics, and then we just mute that and overdub the vocal when we have more control over it.
So that's another thing too.
Yeah.
So you're a three-piece. So
Mm-hmm.
we have the bass, the drums, and the piano. So we have no guitar.
Not live, although when we do, there are a couple of our songs that I will bring a guitar out for, but I do all the guitar work on top of that. So,
And did you do any vocal work on this as well?
there are a couple of tracks where you can hear me either whispering or just sort of humming along, but Mac does all the main vocals.
Okay.
Yep.
And who's your drummer?
Our drummer is Austin Graff.
Austin Graff.
Yep.
Yeah, he sounds really good too.
He is my favorite.
That's awesome. I love it. You guys are really tight. And then I also see, looking inside the jacket, you had a lot of guest musicians come in. Was there anything any guest musicians have you heard so far?
On the first two songs, yes, Firestarter, what we just listened to, is actually just the three of us. So, but yeah, so on the first song, and I was just going through the credits this morning, so I make sure I get this right. There's a lot of layers. The first song you would have heard Olivia Adams playing oboe, Bethany Ordoneza playing flute. You can hear Taylor Caprera singing along with the violin part, which was done by William Cook, who's in the local band Top House.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then on Homecoming, we had our friend Brady Hansen play pipa on it. So
What is a pipa?
so it's a I don't know the country version, but it's an Asian string instrument. That you might are you familiar? Do you listen to the band Incubus at all?
I have, but
Okay.
I couldn't.
If anybody ever checks out their song Aqueous Transmission, it's off their album Morning View, that song was written entirely on a pipa, and it was because Steve Vai gave one to the guitar player because he didn't know what to do with it.
Wow,
So-
so he made a song with it.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
we stole one and did a similar thing.
That's cool. The
Yeah.
only obscure stringed instrument I've ever messed with is an oud. Have you ever seen one of those? Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever messed with obscure string-wise. That's good. So excellent, man. So that was Firestarter.
Yep.
And next we have Hail King Lear.
Yep. And
Shakespeare fan?
Uh,
He does feel very theatrical.
yeah, we it's very, for a while we were trying to figure out if we were like a musical theater punk band or like what to call ourselves, and that's always been a struggle trying to figure out.
What do you say when people ask?
We have said Broadway punk before.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is a nice one.
That's as close as we've probably come.
On your sheet that you have, let me grab it real quick.
Oh yeah, that one.
You had said sounds like, and you listed a couple of bands, and one was the Pixies, which I don't hear too much.
It's more of a dynamics thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so you say sounds like the Pixies, the Mountain Goats, and the Dresden Dolls. Gotcha. Equal parts funk and prog rock, but I really like Broadway punk. That is a perfect encapsulation, I think, of the tunes.
It took us a while to figure that out.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Hail King Lear.
Great.
Here we go.
From the storm, he rises like a revelation, staggering up and down the plain. Behold his form, fallen from an antique nation, ancient and vain, and utterly insane. He is king, and he holds absolute dominion over this rain-swept, barren field. Now hear him sing his royal lunatic's opinion, too long concealed, now by the rains revealed. He shrieks, am I not lord of this earth, clad in unspeakable worth? Might I demand of the sky the pains of some monstrous birth, or call unto the thunder, rip thee asunder, all human wonder, invention and mirth, invention and mirth. Thus he cries, his white hair tearing in the bright air, his posture bent, turning in toward the wind, his crimson eyes, like something stolen from a nightmare, limbs nearly skinned, and hubris discipline. He speaks, I have seen things in the weave no lunatic would believe, and incarnations of hell no devil would dare conceive, but not as sick as a daughter, scheming to slaughter her father in the water of a midwinter's eve, a midwinter's eve. Blow now storm, and destroy every castle, scour the earth of every living thing, drown the swarm, down to the very last this'll torture and sting the fool who was your king. Oh heaven, hail the king! Oh heaven, hail the king! Oh heaven, hail the king! Hail the king! Hail the king!
Hail King Lear, am I right?
Yep.
So, what was the inspiration behind that song?
That was. I have a very specific memory that Mac will love me sharing, which was he and I were roommates for a while, and there was one point we were living over at the Riverside Apartments over off of Broadway, and we had this wicked storm, and I lost the footage somewhere on my old phone, but I had a clip of him walking in his bathrobe out onto our balcony and screaming screaming a monologue that he'd learned from King Lear, just like yelling at the storm.
I'd like to see that.
There's somebody on one of the adjacent balconies who just saw him do that, and so like right afterwards you can hear him go, "Oh, hello," and like he waved. Yeah.
I'd like to hear that. That was a good one.
It's fun.
Well, that's great, man. Well, so I guess you're modulus again on that track.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anything special about
The production right now?
Yeah, or the bass
There's-
playing in particular?
There's one thing that we've done on another album that was kind of tricky, which was that you'll hear a part like right when it gets really heavy towards the end of the song, you hear a flanger start to happen. And what we actually did was I was playing the guitar and recording that, and I had to have Mac turn up the speed on my flanger pedal as I was playing. So you hear it increase, or like the vibrato of it increase in a very unnatural way, but that was all done manually.
On purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't doing it to try to screw with me.
What kind of guitar are you playing on these tracks?
I've got a few different ones. On that one, it was probably either my Strat or I have a Gibson Firebird.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
My guitar player plays a Firebird as well.
I've been noticing.
Yeah, it's a very sophisticated instrument. That's what I would say. I find it very sophisticated, and I find the Strat or an SG, really raw and powerful.
Yep.
That's
I totally get that.
My 2 cents on that.
Like, the Firebird is totally neck through,
Mhm.
so there's no bolt on or anything.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's all
I never
one
really
piece.
looked at it. That makes
Yeah, so the construction of them, you get a lot better sustain.
more warmth, more sustain.
Exactly.
I like that. That's cool. And I guess I haven't looked close at his, so I guess it's humbuckers, right? Is that's
too many humbuckers
Yeah.
typically? Yeah.
Gotcha. Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice. All right, so let's move on. So we have Mercy, and then I see a 1 next to it.
Yep.
So explain that to me.
So that song is sort of in 2 parts, but they're 2 entirely different songs. But the first Mercy is actually a very serious piece, and I used a fretless on this. It's the only song on the album I used fretless for. I was trying to get more of a subdued, less active part, and really just try to support the song. But Mercy is part 1 is about discovering a friend who has problems with self-mutilation and self-harm,
Wow.
and trying to instill in them a reason to get past that and move on.
Your music is way too fun to be handling such dark subject matter.
This song, the harmonically, this song probably fits it. I
Yeah.
think, but
Kind of
the
reminds
other
me.
ones I agree.
That's something about like Sublime. I used to always, on their title album, I used to always be surprised at the weight, the gravitas of their lyrics based on, the funness of their music. Let's talk about that fretless right quick.
Yeah.
So, what kind of fretless is it?
I have a Warwick 5-string Corvette
Okay.
that I got back in 2008.
Is it an ebony fretboard?
It is an ebony.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty much the go-to with a fretless.
Yeah, and it's unlined. I didn't want to do any cheating.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at you!
I know.
You got dots on the side.
They all come that way.
Okay, all right. So,
But you can intonate them so that doesn't matter.
You're a braver man than me, that's for sure. I do have my eye on a little Squire fretless to kind of bring myself into the world.
I will say that the Fender fretlesses are much more fun to play, partially because they have a larger radius, or I guess technically smaller radius, so their fingerboard is more curved. On mine, because it's a 5-string and it's a Warwick, the board's almost completely flat.
Gotcha. And they're heavy basses too, right? Those are-
This one's fairly light. I did sell one last year that I'd had that was the fretted version of it that weighed 13 pounds.
Wow, was that a Corvette or a Thumb?
It was a Corvette.
It was a Corvette. That's a heavy bass.
It was too much.
Oh man, that was just driving me insane. All right, well, the not so heavy Warwick Corvette with the ebony
With the
fretboard
very heavy subjects.
and the very heavy subject matter. Mercy Volume 1, I guess we can.
Mercy 1.
Mercy 1.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Thanks, man.
She slices deep, the needle points at places under her skin, deeper than she ever dreamed she'd reach. She's going in. with lines laid across her length. The carpet's wet and soaking red. She screams with joy, her eyeballs spin. Have mercy on this body, love. It knows what you've been dreaming of. It loves you perfectly, my friend. This is not the end. This is not the end. The windows down, the whole world hears some shrieking girl, half crazy on her carpet, slowly ending. We're all listening in. Have mercy on this body, love. It knows what you've been dreaming of. It loves you perfectly, my friend. This is not the end. Have mercy and endure this flood. There's no great meaning in your blood. God damn you, don't you dare ascend. Don't you dare, my friend. This is not the end. Have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy.
Did I detect the saw on that song?
Oh, you absolutely did.
Tell me about that saw.
Oh, perhaps I shall. So, yeah, we had one of our friends, the lovely and talented Henry Mansfield. If anybody is curious, you should definitely check out his band stuff. He has the world's perfect song ever made called Master Poem. I joke with him that that's the only song he's ever written, but it's really, really good stuff. But so we had him playing the singing saw, where he's just playing essentially just a saw that he got at a hardware store with the violin bow. And there's actually, on that track specifically we just heard, I overlaid 3 of him doing that. But he did all of that. He's going to Berklee School of Music in Boston.
Very nice.
And so he recorded that there and then emailed it to us.
That's Berklee with 2 E's.
That is, yeah, it's not the other one.
That's nice. Excellent.
Yeah, man.
That was great. What a great song. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
So I'm obviously sensing you say you're Broadway punk, so I'm sensing a Shakespeare theme because it looks like For Iago is next.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. I guess the short and skinny, one of the reasons is that I guess
Mac's dad was an English professor, so Mac is what some might say too literate. So there's a lot of
Nobody's too literate.
He's too literate. Yeah. A lot of heavy references, but yeah, this song, and this is the one that we made a music video for and put out a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, starring one Henry that I was just talking about.
Okay.
He and our friend Iris were in town, and we made Henry put on a dress and a wig. We made our friend Iris put on a fake mustache and wear my suit. And if people want to check that out, it's on our YouTube and on our Facebook page. But
yeah, it's very funny. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
We shot that up at Blue Mountain. Yeah, so this song is just from Othello, and it's basically just about Amelia getting revenge on her formerly abusive husband.
Mm-hmm. So I remember Iago was a pretty bad influence. He was
Yep.
kind of the one who sort of directed Othello to his demise.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Anything special on the recordings on this one?
Oh, let me think. I am playing. This is the only track that we've done where I'm playing bass and playing acoustic 12-string and mandolin.
Acoustic 12-string guitar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the mandolin, excellent. And then what with your modulus again?
I think
your-
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this one has a much more subdued bass part, since the rest of it's a lot more kind of Mumford and Sonsy folky.
Yeah, I kind of saw that. That was a good reference. And this is good because, you know, for all you aspiring bass players out there, it's important that as a bass player, you play to the song.
Absolutely.
And so you're playing, you know, you add the mandolin, you add the 12-string, you got the powerful vocals. It's not a song that the bass really needs to be standing out, but needs to be holding it down.
Yep. And
Excellent.
I mean, to be fair, you could kind of say that of all the instruments.
I guess that is true.
There's just a point of like awareness, I guess, is key.
Listening to
Yep.
to each person.
As we were talking about before we went on air, the whole Victor Wooten thing, he often phrased it in a great way, which is that you have one ear for yourself and one ear for the band.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, so for Iago, I want you guys to listen with both ears. Here we go.
I will sing now of the ensign, how he took me for his wife when I was young and fully foolish and knew nothing of the ghoulish wicked wheels what make men sin, spinning in the skin of life. I was young and so I wed a pretty boy whose eyes were dead. It was easy to ignore the little hints of imprecision, like the way he built his smile as though his tongue had tasted bile. It was easy to abhor the doubts that dared befoul my vision of our darling little life, the ensign and his wife. I am imprisoned in your flesh, my darling. Nobody knows your flesh like I do, darling. I have begun to break it, God knows I'll never make it, but I am going to take you down, and down, and down, and down. None ever loved me with such fire as did the ensign when he loved me. I would swear it was inhuman how he never tired of ruminating on each small desire of mine, nor tired of speaking of me as a treasure and a prize, the pleasure of his hollow eyes. So when the pleadings were begun, I accepted them with stillness. I surrendered to his bite without the barest hint of flight, and my body was undone as though disfigured by some illness. What devoured my very meat excreted something sick and sweet. Sing now of my passion, how I set my boy aflame, how I showed him to his master as a bastard and spellcaster, and destroyed him in my fashion, though his dagger pierced my frame. I have scorned his very name, I have damned his soul to flame. I am imprisoned in your flesh, my darling. Nobody knows your flesh like I do, darling. I have begun to break it, God knows I'll never make it, but I am going to take you down, and down, and down, and down.
All right, so that's Iago. I recommend you guys. I had seen that video a couple weeks ago when they first put it out, and if you're not following or liking the Pale People Facebook page, we're going to forgive you because we're going to pretend that you just didn't know about it. But if you're listening, now you know. So I want you to go to Facebook right now, hit that big like button, and then discover this video for Iago. It's very funny. I really enjoyed it. I did not see you in it. Were you filming it?
I was filming it, and if you look really closely in one of the shots, you can accidentally see one of my feet.
So you had done that on Blue Mountain, and so I'm from Texas. Everybody, all my listeners know I'm from Southeast Texas. And I was thinking about Mac, laying down under logs and laying in the grass. And that's something that would be very dangerous in Southeast Texas. You would have a snake or some kind of venomous spider on you. Did he run into anything like that?
The worst thing is that it didn't occur to us to put on sunscreen until we were filming for about 3 hours.
No tick checks?
None yet. Now that you mention, I should probably inspect Mac.
That's good. So great song,
Thanks,
great video. I really enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you can tell too, and that's good. You can tell not only in the video, you can hear it in the recording. Then it's a lot of fun, and that is one thing many things I enjoyed about this album, and that in particular is it's very fun to listen to.
Thank you.
And I do enjoy that.
I think it doesn't take it like we take the music seriously, kind of like what Rush has always said. They take the music seriously, but they don't take themselves seriously.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, you're just full of all sorts of these great sayings and cliches.
I've got an inappropriately large amount of music documentaries.
Oh, so, I love it. Yeah. I love it. So I think that every morning you need to text me some sort of
affirmation,
some sort of affirmation or quote for the day.
Sure.
And that way I can ease into my day properly.
Do a base to base thing.
Base to base.
Yeah.
I love it.
So like a base Snapchat.
Right. So I'm thinking. So we're this is our first. My first of a series that's going to come, the Bassist to Bassist. And I was thinking bass to bass. What do you prefer? Because like a face-to-face interview, the bass-to-bass interview, or what should I call this?
Face to face.
Face to face?
You're overthinking it, man.
Got it. Face to face. That's it right there.
So
you get the credit on that one, buddy. If this goes famous, royalties are all yours.
You want me to overcomplicate it?
No.
Spell it BACE2FASS.
Oh man, no way. That'd be people who say bossy to fossy. No, it would ruin it. Excellent. All right, so poor Iago. So coming up next, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th song on the album is Underworld.
Yep.
All right, tell me about Underworld.
Underworld is one of my favorite songs on the album.
Okay.
We wrote it last summer, just goofing around while we were recording our last album and getting ready for our tour that we did last summer. I offhandedly was like, why can't we just play something really cool like a Blink-182 kind of nonsense? And then I just did this little riff in D, and then instead of just doing 1, 5, 6, 4 like most punk progressions are, went 1, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, and for all the nerds, they'll know what that means. But we kind of jammed on it for a second, and like it was going to be this throwaway thing, and then just go back to rehearsal, and then we all looked at each other and we were like, uh-oh, we kind of got to write that. And so we were thinking of topics, and I used to be in a metal band with somebody who had learned to play Dungeons and Dragons when he was in prison. And so we extracted this idea and we enhanced it a little bit through the magic of editing. So that what the song is about someone in solitary confinement who's playing D&D by himself. And it's a song about this person who is grappling with escaping into this fantasy world while he's locked away and imprisoned, and simultaneously feeling guilt that he should be receiving more of a punishment than he is because he's able to escape into his own mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, get ready for this.
I was thinking about Arma and my humble halfling farmer, and the leather hide he wears from a previous campaign, badly frayed and needs repairs, yet his life and limbs remain intact and free from pain. I was thinking about Arma. I've done 19 years alone now. There's little I could claim I own now. One soiled orange shirt, One toilet and one cot. The way these old boys make me hurt. The food they push me through the slot. The rate at which all bodies rot. I've done 19 years alone now. There is a manticore in this dungeon, and our company is falling to its claws. But if even one companion rolls a 20 with a broadsword, we will slay the beast with one stab through its jaws, and steal the treasure from its paws to thunderous applause. I was thinking about story, the gory ways we all get glory. How my ogre met my dwarf in a tavern at sea's edge. How they battled on the wharf until satisfied to pledge their friendship lying in the sedge. I was thinking about story. Years of silence for my years of wicked violence. This is a cruel preserve, and my heart is naked ice, and I deserve to lose my nerve. Yet I carry some device, makes me make my paper dice, and I have nothing left but story. There is a manticore in this dungeon, and our company is falling to its claws. But if even one companion rolls a 20 with a broadsword, we will slay the beast with one stab through its jaws, and steal the treasure from its paws to thunderous applause. I have nothing left but story.
Were small in comparison to strife and suffering. Ogre race was formed when Hosea resembled small terror and
Nothing lives inside but story. I have nothing left but story. Nothing lives in here but story.
All right. Underworld. You know, one thing, that was a great song, and it really was very poppy. You know, I could definitely tell I enjoyed it a lot. It kind of reminded me of that early 90s. You said Blink-182.
That's what we were trying to sort of make fun of at the time.
I was feeling like kind of some like early like Kerplunk Green Day. That's kind of what it sounded like to me.
You know, like, when I was first starting to play, I learned a lot of stuff that Mike Dirnt did.
Well, Mike Dirnt was a big influence on me as an early player.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, and particularly his early work, because later he got kind of lazy. We won't talk about that.
No, we won't. But they did add an orchestra.
They did.
And who would have guessed in 1995?
And a guitar player that played with them for 15 years before they asked him to join the band officially.
That's terrible.
But whatever. What are you gonna do? Yeah, a lot of the way that I learned to do my fills was like I would learn a Green Day song, and then I would just try to one up it, and I would just try to overcomplicate the riff. And like you and I were talking about off air, like you kind of, once you get older, you sort of dial it back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of. I was a diehard Green Day fan
Yep.
as a young boy. Like, you know, I heard Dookie before anything else, and then I went back and discovered Kerplunk and then 39 Smooth.
Yep.
And I just loved it. It's just very nostalgic to me, and that's how that song felt. So good job. I liked it a lot. It's also one of your longer songs.
That is the second longest song.
I think it's almost 5 minutes.
Third longest. Yep.
That's pretty good. Well, good, man. Anything else you want to mention about Underworld?
Oh, I don't know. I think we talked about it pretty good.
Yeah, that was good, man. So
Yeah.
coming up next, we have Flare Gun. So tell me a little bit about that.
So Flare Gun is a fun one because it could have been on our first album. We actually wrote that song probably a month after we started the band. And the way that came about was I had come up with this song idea about a couple on the Titanic who are making love and are too busy doing so to realize that the ship is sinking. And so that's exactly what the song's about. But I told Mac that I had this idea for the song for a while, and he came back the next day with all the lyrics ready, and he was like, I've got it. So
I love that about these songs. They're such great stories. They really are.
thank you. Yeah, they're fun.
That's good.
So just a little nerdy side note, I was working on a piece a couple years prior to that that was in A minor, and it sounded really sort of like hot and summery and kind of like Santana kind of stuff, right? And so I decided that I was going to call the song Solaris. And my friend at the time, John, who I was writing with, he never texted, or he refused to text. He'd always use text-to-speech. And so he was coming up with we were coming up with the idea, and so he text-to-speeched it spoke into his phone. I don't know what the past tense is of that. But he did the text-to-speech into his phone, and instead of Solaris, it thought he said Flare Gun. And so I was like, that is a happy accident.
That's great,
We're
man.
keeping that.
I love it. Autocorrect wins.
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those more like, I don't want to say it's a tearjerker, but like it's up there.
Okay.
And like, so we put starts out like a really, really overly dramatic organ part, and fun thing about this song, it actually has two bass lines. So I'm doing the regular thing with the modulus and just kind of filling out the song, and then there's a solo part way through it, which we'll all hear. But there's a second bass line where I'm playing my 6-string bass and just playing chords and dyads up in a really high position.
Okay. All right, nice.
But so you'll hear that starting, I think, on the second verse.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm excited. Here we go with Flare Gun.
As the ship lay sinking, as the crimson flares flew blinking out of sight, beneath their useless light, as the Titan tilted upward, as the captain's chamber ruptured, we were warm, naked, sweet, and safe from harm. Two old lovers voyage westward, charming, frank, ill-tempered Esther, poor and hungry, sometimes lovely, elderly, approaching ugly, freckled hands undoing button, going to America, clutching skin. As the lifeboats left us, as our vessel's body cleft in two, we rose. On filthy sheets our currents froze. As we went down you were shaking, as our bodies started breaking on the bed. The current clutched and drowned us dead. Two old lovers voyage downward, his old body wrapped around her, tumbling wetly, naked, silent, falling amongst the cold and dying. Crimson flares above the ocean, old gods gather, old devotion in. crimson flares flew flying out of sight. We lit ourselves with crimson light.
All right. So flare gun by accident, and you decided to keep it.
Yep.
That was good, man. That
Thanks,
was
man.
very, very heavy, very somber,
Yeah,
I would say.
melancholy, if you will.
Yeah,
It was.
melancholy.
It's interesting because like that middle verse in that song that happens after the bass solo, Mac had to write that instantly because when we tracked it, we were like, "Oh, that's the take." When we realized that we'd actually played the song too long, so he had to write more music to fit it.
He seems like the kind of guy that could probably do that pretty quickly.
I think I have footage of this. It probably took a minute and a half.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of briefly meeting Mac, and I could just sense this musical.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to.
He hates the term savant.
I don't want to puff him up too much, but I could definitely, he was oozing music when I met him, and so I could definitely see that.
He's a hardworking dude.
That's great, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good dude. Excellent. So next we got The Iceman Cometh. Tell me about that. Is it about the '80s movie, The Iceman?
Close. Or Encino Man.
Oh.
No, it's actually not about that. Mac wrote that about, and I don't know if it's pronounced Utsi, because there's an umlaut on the O, but it was about the earliest, I think it's Cro-Magnon, I might be wrong, the earliest preserved human species. There was this dude that they had discovered and then like proceeded to, because there was somebody that was encased in ice, right? And he was like thousands of years old, and he was then thoroughly dissected and studied more than any other member of our species ever has been, because people have been so curious about what our history has been like. And so Mac wrote it from the perspective of what it would be like to be him discovering the world now and watching people dissect him.
You guys are so heavy.
It's crazy.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the recording process.
This song has a brief intro that might sound like organ, which is actually just where I took a hollow body guitar and tuned it to an open D flat chord, and then I let it feed back for 3 minutes, and then I only kept a second and a half of it.
All right.
But this is, I think, the only song on the album that really features a slap bass part.
Okay.
But it's got the whole crazy time signature thing. It's probably one of the proggier songs on
Okay. What's the time signature on it?
That's a good question because it shifts.
Oh. It's one of those.
Well, I'll let you count it. How about that?
No way. I'll try. I'll definitely try.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So The Iceman Cometh.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I fall and die like a cedar, and the years erase all that we were. Excavate the ancestors, killers, kings, and jesters, corpses facing westward toward the holy hidden sea. Come upon a carcass in the frozen darkness. Looks like you found stardust in the shape of me. These are my bones. This is my smile. These are my bones. My blood and bile. My spence and style. And firestones. Oh, holy bones. So slice and scour my insides and light the holes where my sin hides. All that's left of the old days, wretched flesh and an old gaze, the rest gone in the gold blaze of 7,000 years. Make you suffer for me, going under to gourmet, enter and and explore, they make me appear. These are my bones. This is my smile. These are my bones. My blood and bile. My spit and style. And firestones. Oh, holy bones.
Yeah, I couldn't count that. I tried.
And I did it a little bit for you.
You did a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of showed me, and then you're like, no, that's in 4/4.
It's just
I'm
four.
like- yeah, I'm like, oh. it makes me
I
feel
had
good.
a music teacher once tell me, realistically, everything is just in one.
There you go. I like that. I like
That's
that.
fine, but if you're trying to read it, it doesn't really work.
Just don't clap on one.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
Clap on 2 and 4.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good, man. So that was Iceman Cometh. Very nice.
Yep.
I enjoyed that. And so next up, we're going to do Inner Space, parentheses, the occupation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that sounds pretty ominous.
Yep.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so that's got to be my favorite song on the album.
Oh, nice.
The outro and like part of it is mostly something I wrote on guitar a long time ago. The verse part I came up with back in January, I think. But I'm a huge Third Eye Blind fan.
Oh, they're
right?
so good. They're
Right.
so
Yeah.
underestimated.
Yep.
That's the thing. People don't recognize how good they are, especially their second album.
Yep. Really the first two.
Yeah,
But,
there you go.
yeah.
But the second one had so much more depth than the first one.
Yep.
But people don't recognize that.
Yep.
Well, that's great that
But
you
no,
say
so
that.
I've reached out to Kevin Cadigan before, the guitar player from
Okay.
that, and like he is famous for using, and he was kind enough to return my message. but,
Wow.
yeah, he's really really cool dude. But he uses a bunch of different alternate tunings, and so his whole thing is just reorganizing the guitar until you get cool sounds, right? And he was a student of Joe Satriani, for anybody who's real nerdy. But
You just wouldn't think that with that band.
you really
know?
wouldn't. Well, because there's a lot of it's so much in like GCD and kind of
Well,
poppy.
it's radio friendly. Like so
Yeah.
much of them is just super radio friendly. That's normally GCD and pop.
Well, and so the song on their first album, God of Wine, it's the last song on the album. They recorded in the ballroom at Skywalker Ranch, and so you're getting a real big reverb, crazy slow tone. But that's in some cool open tuning. I think it's like open F sharp. But I figured out how to play it in standard because I hate alternate tunings.
Yeah, right.
Which is partially why I play 5-string. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. But so what my goal was to come up with a guitar part that sounded like it was in an open tuning but isn't. And so this song is just capoed at the first fret. And the way that I'm playing chords, you actually need a 5-fret reach at one point to play the chord correctly. So you have to like really bend to do this crazy thing. But it's super, super fun to play. But dense, fun rock texture. If anybody's listening to this song, I highly recommend turning this up louder than you have the rest of them. It gets pretty intense. But it's got this super sad outro thing that I've been planning since I was 22 or something.
How long have you been playing music?
I've been playing for 15 years.
15 years. So
Yeah.
how old were you when you started?
I was 15, so I just turned 30.
Just turned 30. All right,
Yeah, man.
man. Well, happy 30.
Thank you.
I'll be 40 in about a month, and it'll be my 40th.
And we'll see you there.
Yeah, you're going to see me at the party. I'm excited
Yeah.
about that.
And this song features a guest vocalist for the choruses. So Taylor Caprera was a friend of ours from the music school, and she's just this amazing soprano vocalist. And she and I actually had done a musical together, but I didn't know it because I was in the pit, so I couldn't ever see the stage. But so I had subbed for somebody once and played in the university's production of a chorus line, and she was on stage the whole time. And
Cool.
We didn't know it. But so we got her in, and she was just she belts, and it sounds incredible. But the song is about a couple who are so in love that they try to literally sew each other together.
God, you guys
Yeah.
are so crazy. I love
Yeah,
it.
but it gets a little intense by the end of it, and the outro part is just Taylor singing, me on 2 different guitars, and then our drummer Austin playing marimba.
Okay, that sounds good. I love it. So if you heard the bass player, if he says turn it up, you better turn it up.
Turn it up. There are 6 guitar parts on this song.
6 guitar parts. Wow.
Yeah.
Here we go, inner space.
Good luck, everyone.
In your stomach, a colorless little death sucking in your warm breath. Do you remember this body and the sounds it made, smothered in your meat, warm and sweet? Do you remember ugly when I cut up your belly, made a dark cavity filled with dark gravity? And how you pulled your flesh open, how you beckoned me into that black place, the bitter space. Good luck getting away, we've married today, I'll never leave your skin. Good luck getting me unstuck, getting away. Do you remember ugly how we prepared our bodies? When the needles came, we spoke our secret name. And how they sewed us together, how we screamed with joy through the flood of bile and blood. Oh God, we felt so lovely. Do you remember ugly? Lumbering underground, we made our secret sound. And how we steered ourselves over the ocean toward shores never seen, bright and very green.
That's all she wrote. Why the occupation?
You know how when somebody is in I guess it would be like a theater of war concept, where whenever you're staging an event or a combat or what have you in another area, you're occupying it. And so what it is these people who are literally trying to sew each other together, and then through conflict need to separate, and have difficulty doing so. The idea of someone else occupying your personal space was kind of crucial to I guess the rest of that concept.
All right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Didn't consider it that way.
Yep.
That's nice. I like that. That was a very, very rocking song,
Hey,
for sure.
That was a really, really fun one to do.
That was good. I imagine so. Very nice. All right, so coming up next we have Epilogue, but don't worry, we still got 2 more tracks after it.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you have placed Epilogue third to last and not last?
We wanted the title track to be the last song, and then we were just trying to figure out where the other half of the Mercy saga was going to take place. And we liked the idea, because Epilogue is also about an abusive relationship ending, because they're all really poppy songs.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Right?
We thought it made sense to put that right after the one where it's 2 people trying to then separate.
All right.
Yeah,
So
man.
tell me a little bit about Epilogue.
Yeah, so Epilogue would be about someone who's in an abusive relationship, and they may or may not be a true story. I won't add any clout to that. Wink. Is the wink doesn't work over the radio, everybody. That is just about somebody who is in an abusive relationship, and they end the relationship and then keep getting contacted by the other person, and the other person continues the abuse despite their best wishes.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
like it a lot. Well, tell me a little bit about the recording process on this one.
This one, I feel, of any of the tracks, was probably our most cohesive performance. When I listen back to the album, this is the one where I'm like, the 3 of us gel extremely well. It was super, super fun to play, but it was also very important to us to remind each other what the song was about right before we recorded. So it's sort of like this team huddle, everyone take a deep breath, we can have fun, but this is kind of a serious deal, and just hope that that translates to the audience.
So this is just you 3. I see no guest artist sitting in on this one.
I would have to hear it back, but I'm pretty sure this is just the 3 of us. Yeah.
How about you as a band? One thing, it's difficult as a trio to perform live and then have a nice full sound.
Yeah.
That is difficult. I imagine the piano has to help with that.
The piano helps a lot, and it piano with a left hand that's fairly heavy allows me as a bass player to do a lot. So I can fill a lot more of the mid-range. I play quite a bit of double stops. Most of the time, I'm either playing parallel octaves, where I'm bending my thumb and slapping it, so I'm playing 2 of the same note, or I'm playing in like stacked fifths or something. But just to sort of beef up the sound a little bit, and then all the little melodic runs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That is a good thought, because most of the time it's the guitar and the bass and the drums when you're dealing with a trio, and you do see. I mean, unless you're Rush, you see that kind of thin out, especially when the guitar goes to solo.
Well, and then even at that point, the other 2 guys in Rush both have. I'm a huge Rush fan, by the way, so we didn't talk about that. But like they've also both got keyboards that they use at different points.
True.
So.
That is true.
Yep.
That's nice. All right, guys. So Epilogue coming up.
You called me after 12, too drunk to speak, shrieking in the park. You needed somebody to drag your weak body through the dark. Everybody knows your stink, everybody sees you sink, everybody's too scared to blink. I stood inside my flesh and shut my eyes very, very tight. And all the bones inside began to rise, roaring for the light. Everybody wants you hurt, Oh, the bile soaks your skirt. You are gonna learn the taste of dirt. And no one ever wanted you. Nobody ever needed to. So bleed and crumble, slip and stumble, fumble for me till it murders you. When I arrived, you were a perfect wreck, crumpled up and wet. You clawed my shoulder blades and kissed my neck, panting like a pet. Try the best you can to stand, cry upon the cold grass, and clutch my body in your bloody hands. You lived beside me up the streets all night, everybody saw. And they retreated with their faces white, clenching up the jaw. Everybody shakes his head, everybody twists in bed, everybody dreams of the dead. No one ever wanted you, nobody ever needed to. So bleed and crumble, slip and stumble, fumble for me till it murders you.
Awesome. So that was Epilogue. Loved it. Very deep, very nice sound. We got 2 more songs to go, but we still got about 30 minutes. So we're going to geek out just a little bit.
Yep.
So I was kind of letting you know what my next gear purchases are going to be and what I want to do, and how much I'm so thankful for my wife, because if it wasn't for her discerning nature, then I would be far, far in debt. So I'm taking my time to purchase the things that I want to get. And but no, that PB Fury bass, it's basically the poor man's P bass. It's American made, and it's got a jazz neck, which I prefer far more than that baseball bat
exactly
of a P neck, a P bass neck. Don't tell John Sporman that, because
or like one of the Warwick necks. It's a similar. Yeah,
I can't handle that. I like that jazz neck. It's like 1 1/2 inches at the nut.
I've got a Fender Jaguar bass. That's
perfect. That's the same neck.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at that Jaguar because I do like that PJ configuration.
Oh, you got one of those. So.
That's what the Jaguar is, right?
Well, I've got one of the original ones that they started making in 06.
Okay.
And I've replaced every piece of hardware on it except for the wood. But that's the one that I've got autographed by Bootsy Collins and Victor. And
That's
blah,
so
blah, blah.
cool. And you were mentioning to me is when you get something autographed, where do you take it? Like, what's your procedure?
So I've had the fortune of meeting a few of my heroes, and when you stick around in the business long enough, it just kind of eventually happens. Stuff works out. But so I've gotten a few of my instruments autographed, and what I'll do is I'll take it over to Blue Ribbon Auto Body and ask for Paul, tell him Kurt sent you. And what they'll do is they'll put clear bra on it, which for those who don't know, it's just a sort of like a very thick version of Scotch tape that they put over your headlights to protect them from gravel and whatnot. But they can cut it to fit, and I've got an Epiphone Vitas Casino that's autographed by every member of Weird Al's band. They took the time to trace out the entire guitar, and the whole back and the whole border of that is all clear bra.
That's so cool. So I guess once that's on, you can't add any more signatures to that instrument.
You could, well, I guess it depends on where you do it. Like on my Jaguar, I didn't have them do it over the whole face, so I only had them do it over the specific spots. So that's maybe 4 or 5 square inches.
Good point. Okay,
At a time.
I got you.
And I've really only had one of them start to lift off, and that's only because it's on a rounded edge on a hollow body guitar.
Well, you saw that when I was at my bass guitar camp, and I was fortunate enough to meet Nathan East, who's a hero to both of us.
So jealous.
The guy was such a sweet person. That's all I have to say. And I have a story too. You
Oh,
know,
I can't wait.
well, not even that. It's just like Young Checkers down at ESP. He drum tech for him in Big Fort just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Which was a surprise. And I remember being in the camp, and we were asking, "Oh, Mr. East, you know, what's next?" And he says, "Well, I'll be in Big Fort next week." And here I am in Seattle,
Like,
living
dude,
in
I'm gonna-
Missoula.
Right.
And I wasn't able to make it because I was a little misunderstood what it was. So apparently I could have gone to the concert, but it was also a workshop, and I did not know that they were, I thought they were one and the same.
Was that the Crown of the Continent thing?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
And so Young Checkers at ESP, he was drum teching for Nathan. And he had some nice stories about how sweet Nathan was to him, how sweet Nathan was to everybody he was playing with.
Yeah.
And I've
heard nothing but good things.
I can definitely, agree with that. You know, I got to meet him. He spent a lot of time with me on a one-on-one level, and
So cool.
it was amazing. So he signed a pick guard that I had. So
Right, that's how. Yeah.
Well, I ended up with a couple. It wasn't on my bass. I have a couple of spare pick guards. I had bought my Geddy Lee jazz bass a while back, and the guy had put a custom pick guard on it.
I saw you've got the black pearl.
Yeah, and I love it. And so he put a custom pick guard on it, but he mailed me the original with it, and also a mirrored pick guard that he just had, which is kind of cool, but it has a scratch on it. So,
Well, I'll comment on that in a second. Keep going.
well, I was just gonna say, so I had this pick guard, and the funny thing is that I actually printed out a photo on the internet to have Nathan sign, which he did, and then recognized that I have a pick guard with me. And so I was able to get a different one. So I have two pieces of Nathan East memorabilia. One is a photo, and then one is a personalized autograph.
That's great, man.
Oh, I just love it. So I most likely am going to put it in a shadow box or something like that. So I'm not too concerned. Yeah, I'm not too concerned.
So on the mirror pickguard thing, my Jaguar bass that I've done all the stuff to, it's got 60s Motown pickups in it, and I put P-bass knobs on it, and like it's got a badass bridge. I just decked it to the nines, right? It's on its third nut. I had Blue Ribbon custom cut mirror pickguard for it, and I've still got the plywood jig template that they made. But the problem with the Jaguar is that it's not a standard J bass.
No, it's his own thing.
Harder to come by, and it was the first year they made them when they weren't the PJ configuration.
And I don't even. Oh, it wasn't a PJ.
No, mine's JJ.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's something. That's the reason I was kind of looking towards one, is the PJ configuration, and then now they got the Player Series out, which is, I don't know, it's got an extra fret, so I don't know if that's going to change.
They're doing that, and they I saw one of the Squire versions. They made a 5-string though, which blew my mind. Fun caveat with the Nathan East thing. If I remember correctly, the first guy who played a production line 5-string model, and 5-strings were first made by Yamaha.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was playing a 6-string.
Yeah, his old white one.
When I saw him, and but they're actually, he had said they're in the process of developing a new signature model for him.
Again.
Another one.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. And who knows what's going to happen now since Yamaha bought Ampeg.
Right.
I'm pretty psyched about that, even though I do play out of a Chinese Ampeg that suits me really well, that BA210 we were talking about. And then the Scrambler feature, they built a whole DI box based off of, the sound of the amp that I have. So it does well for me. But I am excited because Yamaha is one heck of a company, and when I was reading about the purchase, they were wanting to make more of a splash into the bassist world.
Right.
So I'm excited to see what they do.
Well, I've had the fortune of meeting Billy Sheehan a couple of times.
You just kill me, man.
No. It's whatever. But he, the thing that I can't get my head around is like the Billy Sheehan signature model, which is basically Yamaha's copy of his original P-bass.
Yeah, the one that he modified himself. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's $2,600 for a P-bass. Like, I can't justify that.
Well, it's got that neck pickup. I mean,
it's got the neck pickup. It has 2 outputs. It has scalloped frets on the higher end. But like,
still, $2,600. How much was your modulus? If you don't mind my asking.
I managed to land a 1998 modulus I got it for about 23.
Still godly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I killed it with my Geddy. It was about a $1,200 one I got for $700, and I thought that was a steal. I'm happy with it though.
Well, like on my Jag
the Jaguar bass, I paid $700 for it at ESP when they were new, and I've put, I don't know, that same amount of money into it.
You said you changed everything out. You changed out the pickups.
Yeah, they
So
also.
what?
So at the Fender Custom Shop, 60s Motown set.
Are they noiseless? No.
No, they're just they've got a it's attenuated for just a little more lower thump tone.
Did you shield it, or do you just do it with
So the Jaguar bass had the reason I started messing with them in the first place is they had a factory defect. They're all Japan made, which Fender Japan does great work.
Fender Japan is amazing.
Right, because they did some of the Gettys.
The Getty, well, yeah, they discontinued those a while back, but they're highly sought after. But they have the Aerodyne, which is very, very, very well regarded bass.
But the issue with the Jaguar is that the way that they designed the active passive electronics and the added preamp and whatnot, it was one terribly shielded, and every single, like, if you Google Fender Jaguar bass, I guarantee 90% of the time it's going to autofill after that hum problem. And like even just standard, it hummed like crazy, and I didn't even do anything to it. So I gutted it and redid everything myself, and shielded it and did all that.
I get a pretty good hum out of mine, but the thing is I run both my pickups wide open, so it cancels it out. But even unless I'm grounding it with my finger, I get a pretty good hum out of it. And I got Fender American pickups in it, but it's just the fact of the what is it, a single coil 60.
The 60 cycle hum.
60 cycle hum, yeah. And so I think it is what it is until I actually just break down and shield it or have somebody shield it.
Did you put, and I maybe shield it for you, I've got a bunch of the tape.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so I know it. One of the issues that I ran into too when I first put the Badass Bridge on it is that there's a grounding wire that attaches to the bottom of the bridge underneath, which one that's sandwiched between the body and the bridge. And if that's not there, it's going to hum like that anyway.
That's good to know. Mine's got that Getty Lee high mass bridge. That's
There was the copy of the Badass because they ran out of them.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Getty thing is actually exactly why I started modding it too. I put the Badass on it, and I put the precision knobs on it because before that just had the plastic black ones. Because I saw that that's what was on the Jacko series or signature model. Yeah,
I would definitely like to see that.
Yeah, man.
Also, so since we still got about 20 minutes, we got 2 more songs, so we do have a little time to fill. I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm hoping that the listeners are as well. But
Hoping it translates.
It doesn't matter. It's my show. I can say what I want.
That's true.
Within reason. But I do want you guys to listen. So we're going to have some more music coming up in a bit. I was making a mention that I prefer a maple fretboard. So I have two basses I play with. My Getty Lee jazz bass is my #1 player, and it's the maple fretboard, and I have flats on it.
Yep.
Big fan of that sound. And then I have a Sire M3, Marcus Miller's Sire. I don't know if you're familiar with those. And it's my active bass, soap bar pickups, and it's got a rosewood fretboard and round wound strings. And so I wanted.
So you're getting the brightness either way.
Exactly.
Right.
I always imagined myself someday joining like a hard rock band, and so I wanted to have a loud, aggressive bass.
Have that edge to it.
I really did, and it does have it. And sometimes I bring it to practice, and it's got an active passive switch, and it's a really well-rounded bass. I mean, it's got just a wide range of tonal sounds. It's an active bass, like I said.
It took a lot for them to get Marcus Miller to pull away from Fender's endorsement stuff.
And he mostly plays his J bass, but he does pull out the Marcus Miller. I forget what their version is, but they have basically a P bass, a J bass, and then mine is more of a modern active thing. And I just wanted to give it a shot.
Totally.
I've been blown away by its quality. It's mahogany on mahogany with a rosewood
so it's going to have a more warm, deep tone.
Very warm, it's very deep, and it looks really mean. It looks really aggressive.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. But so definitely, it's hard to compare the rosewood and the maple on those two because each one is so different. But traditionally, I have played, basically with a rosewood. Neck or rosewood fretboard, and I just so far enjoy that maple. It's just so warm. I just love it.
We were talking earlier. My main bass is the Modulus, which has a graphite neck, and
the fingerboard is actually a composite plastic material.
Really?
You're actually not supposed to oil them because it can damage the material. But what you clean it with is just WD-40.
Water displacement 40th attempt.
There we go.
Told me that.
Nice. But the bass that I played before that steadily for 5 or 6 years was I had ordered for myself a little present that we'll call a custom 5-string Stingray.
Oh, man.
Right, so it's a Music Man Stingray.
Killing me.
But dude, I got them to put a bird's eye maple neck on it, and it's all one piece.
That bird's eye is beautiful. I was looking at it because someday I think I'm going to do a Kiesel. And I've been building it and using their building thing. And
for those who don't know, Kiesel until last year was carbon.
Carbon, exactly. And you can still have it say carbon if you like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have the option.
I can silk screen anything.
You can make that.
Right.
I thought about it.
Make it
Leave
St.
off.
Gibson.
Exactly.
Right.
But I was looking at that bird's eye maple on the neck, and it seems to be pretty good. But it also seems to have some integrity issues, or
Really?
it could.
Okay.
It's what I
Where
read.
they source it?
I would imagine. I didn't know if that was something you might have seen, but it is way prettier than just the whatever you would call a regular maple, the straight grain.
And I stole the bird's eye idea from seeing one of Victor's main basses.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, and I do enjoy that. It was nice. Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man. I love getting her out.
Oh, it's great. I know our listeners like it too. All right, so we got about 15 minutes to go. You are listening to 105.5 LPFM KFGM Missoula Community Radio. We are live with Kurt Skrivseth. I always feel like I'm going to say it wrong.
You got it right. 3 out of 3.
3 out of 3. I'm loving it. And he is the multi-instrumentalist, primarily the bass player for the amazing Broadway punk band Pale People. We are playing their album Absent Friends. It goes on sale Monday at all the usual places, and especially around town, Ear Candy and Rock and Rudy's. And reach out to them.
If anyone's dying for our back catalog, they have some of those there too.
Oh, they got some of those there too.
Yeah.
And it's great. You can see my Bandcamp. I had played these guys before on their first album. They're very original. You're going to have a hard time finding anything like it and a hard time comparing anything to it. And that's exactly the kind of music that I like to listen to and the music that I like to play. So this is Absent Friends. So we got about 15 minutes. We got Crawdaddy coming in. He will be playing some of his New Orleans swamp funk, big brass, whatever it's going to be. You know, it's going to be great. Ron Carter, he plays a lot of Ron Carter.
Nice.
And it's going to be great. Trombone Shorty, he was there just a couple weeks ago. And I actually got a Trombone Shorty CD in my backpack. I just got a library card. And so I went there today and checked out probably about 40 CDs that I'm going to put on my hard drive. And I'm going to basically build this incredible music library, so I'm super excited about that.
Fun inside thing, the template that we use for our website was based off of Trombone Shorty's website.
What is it? Wow,
that's
that
correct.
is a neat thing. That's
So,
amazing, man.
Yeah.
You know, coming from East Texas, I have spent a lot of time in New Orleans, and I have...
Nolans, they call it.
well, people that aren't from there call it that.
Right.
And then I have... two of my good friends are both professors there, one in Tulane University. And so it's a great place to go, great place to visit. I've been there many times. I lived in Lake Charles for about a year, one of my many places that I've lived at, and really enjoy it. It's just a good deal. And so I was going to go somewhere with that, but I forgot where it was.
Was it Lake Charles?
No, I forgot where it was, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we got, like I said, about 15 minutes left, so we have just enough time to play these next 2 tracks and have a little chat in between. So coming up next is going to be the second version, also known as The Other Side of Mercy.
Yeah. And this is actually the only song that I use my Stingray on. So,
Oh, all right, I'm excited.
So I went for we went extremely Motown with it.
Oh, I love that.
And
Jamerson.
Yeah, right. And there may or may not be an entire string orchestra at the end of it.
Oh, I love it. Did you put some foam in your...
The Stingray Classic has it built in.
Does it
but
really?
I've never used it.
Oh, wow.
Because I mute manually.
Oh, look at you, man. You're a stud. Not everybody can be as awesome.
But I'm glad that you knew that.
I didn't know that. It's basis to basis.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit. All right, here we go. The Other Side of Mercy.
This is the hip where the hurting happened, where you sunk sharp things under your skin silver and thin. This is the hip that heard your small, soft sounds, helpless and frail, tender and pale as a dead violin. These are the hands that shall transform you. Upon your scars they draw this design, line atop line. Come see the shape these hands have found for you. On the same skin, the very same sin, see your picture shine. These are your limbs and they are lovely. See how they pull my lips to your scars under pale stars. Come see me touch and taste and trace your tattoo tonight. Proud in the pale light, we sound like guitars. This is the life we've lost, the fire and frost, the smell of Christ and car exhaust, the bloody blade, the barricade, the way we lay down afraid. Come and we'll rise like butterflies. You'll clutch my wings, I'll taste your eyes. You shall ascend with me, my friend. This is not the end. This is the life we've lost, the fire and frost, the smell of Christ and car exhaust, the bloody blade, the barricade, the way we lay down afraid. Come and we'll rise like butterflies. You'll clutch my wings, I'll taste your eyes. You shall ascend with me, my friend.
Other Side of Mercy.
Yeah, man.
I like this.
Fun bass thing on it, so I ended on the, I also mentioned on the song last time too, but we end it with an E flat major 7 chord, and I leave it unresolved until barely the last second.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to try to do that on this one particular song that we did, and I leave it on an E, but it needs to resolve on an F, and but I quit doing it. I don't know. It like I liked it, but it just doesn't seem to really vibe with the listener.
Well, unless you're doing it in a higher register, it's not going to carry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's better you're doing that than starting the track and going down. So stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I remember reading the thing, and it was like, well, what do you do when you make a mistake? And I said, well, you
Make it again.
Yeah, so that way people think you did it on purpose. I love it. All right, so we got one more song to go. We got about 9 minutes left. I'm trying to time this just right, and it looks like we're doing a pretty good job with it. About there. Let's see if we got 9 minutes. Let's take a look. So, for you guys that are looking for something to do tonight, in 8 minutes, KFGM is proud to announce yet another exciting evening of local music. Go Hibiki, Mass FM, Fools, and not exactly local, but still from Montana, Silver Bow Society. All ages welcome. Doors at the Union Hall Ballroom open at 7:30. That's 22 minutes ago. But the show starts at 8 o'clock in 8 minutes. These are some great bands. Great bass player, Rob Cade, is playing bass for Go Hibiki and Fools. And I think it's named Fools. It is Fools, yeah. Matt Olson of KFD and Ballroom Sessions playing. Did a wonderful set with him. And what a great band. And what a great bass player. He's really melodic. He's a good bass player.
I watch all his little practice things.
Yeah, I watch him too. I need to have him on here because I don't know who I'm going to invite next and face to face.
If you need me to bring in a couple of bases, if you get on days,
I can definitely do that. I wonder what they got to say.
There's some space.
So that'll be good. And then one more on September 29th, and I'll be here to kind of help set up the sound with this, with Matt Olson, who is running sound for this. So Lake Bottom Sound Series in Canso. This is this Saturday, September 29th at Free Cycles. Doors at 7 p.m., music at 7:30. And tickets at Ear King Music and LakeBottomSound.org. Building community by valuing live music. That's going to be great. Excellent. So we got 7 minutes. Let's go ahead, play the final track, the title track, which is Absent Friends. Tell me a little bit about the photo that you have on your on your deal. It's really cool. You got a little girl. You'll see this once you purchase the album.
Yeah.
You got
also look on our Facebook page.
And look on the Facebook page. So basically, it's a little girl by herself on the seesaw, but she's on the up end. So I just love it. So
and there's nobody on the bottom.
And nobody on the bottom.
So that was my first attempt at real photography.
You did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Tell me about it. How'd you get that to happen?
Mac is actually at the bottom of it.
Oh, you just photoshopped him out?
Well, we did a couple of things. In order to get the shot then of him not being there, good to have the little girl's father and Mac with the other end of the seesaw up, and then I took a second picture.
Okay.
And together.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks great.
Thank you.
Really good. It looks like he's like hanging out with a ghost or something.
We took that. We thought it was that apropos of the title.
It definitely is. Definitely is. And Absent Friends. And where did the title come from? Why did you?
That is actually a reference to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Which you will be playing bass on?
And bass on October 27th and 28th. And actually, Mac, our keyboardist and singer, is playing drums for us.
Excellent. Well, wonderful. Good to hear.
Yeah,
so, and that is going to be playing where?
At the Wilma.
At the Wilma.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I will definitely be there.
Please do.
Excellent. Yep.
Yeah.
Got to see it live. Crawdad just came in the studio, and he was reminding us that if you are listening, you need to go to the Wilma. You need to check this out live. Yeah. And then
you may or may not get to see me closing off me. So this track has 19 musicians on it, I think. 19 musicians. Yeah, there's a lot.
I love it.
We pulled out all the stops, so basically everybody we know is on it.
Very nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, but let's give it a shot here. So we're going to jam to some Absent Friends. Enjoy.
The song is called Absent Friends. Cool. This song is about the corpses of your dead beloved friends rising out of you. So it's going to be a bit of a jam.
Okay. Actually, I'll just hold my hand out, and that's the key to start.
Old friends come, the sun sets and your old friends come. Friends long dead, lovers long gone, your old friends come. The room fills up the dead violin, their bodies hum. No one dances like it ends when your old friends come. Shake and scream your heart out with the dead. sword, you'll animate the dead. Rotten flesh and bloody hearts bleeding red. The floorboards shake beneath you and you're happy dead. Come, the mountains crumble into dust. Cathedrals fall, the rivers rise, the bridges rust. Your house fills up with all the dead you love and trust. The mountains crumble into dust as all things must.
Excellent. That was the title track, Absent Friends, to the album Absent Friends. It goes on sale Monday.
Yep.
It's 8 o'clock. We timed this just right.
High five.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're going to change the name of the segment to Face to Face, and it's going to be all because of you.
So just mention that every time you're doing it.
Absolutely, certainly will.
Yeah.
You're kind of a local celebrity around here, and of course you've been in the industry, your words, and you run into these famous people like Victor Wooten and Bootsy Collins,
Billy Sheehan. I
I
worked with Slash once. We don't need to talk about that.
I got a great Slash story that I need to tell you. It's pretty great.
Sure.
Not on the air though.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not too bad. But excellent. So 8 o'clock. Well, again, Bassist coming to you at 105.5 LPFM, KFGM Missoula, Missoula Community Radio, and you can always stream online at 1055kfgm.org. I am starting to enjoy this persona more and more, so I will be building a Facebook page in the coming days, and I'm going to find a way to offer these recorded shows, and you are the first one. So
happy to be here, man.
Man, I'm happy to have you.
It's great to hear out on the low end.
Oh man, I love it, dude. I love it, love it.
Call it the download.
Call it the download. So base to piece on the download. Base to pipe. Well, we got options. We do. We got options. We're gonna work it out. We definitely will. Well, again, I appreciate you, Kurt, so much for coming. Your band is absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
Very original, very unique. What do we call it? Broadway punk.
I guess.
It's just great. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, man.
My pleasure. Do you have any final thoughts, any final things you want to say to the dozens of listeners out there?
We won't be doing any live shows just for a bit, but check us out online and, check out the album. Okay.
Wonderful, man. I love it. All right. Kurt Skrivseth, Pale People. Check him out. I want to say thank you to the great people of Missoula. Thank you to my new friends in Seattle. Thank you to my listeners in Denver. And as always, thank you to my listeners in Southeast Texas and everybody across the galaxy. You guys have a great night. Thank you so very much. We got Crawdaddy coming up next.